Good day, everyone. So we'll now be studying about the extreme value theorem. So when we hear the word extreme, we also could think of the word the maximum and the minimum. No? Pwede natin siyang i-associate sa words na mga yan. So we will be studying the minimum and maximum and the connection of it sa ating mga napag-aralan and sa derivatives. For our learning competencies, the learners illustrate extreme value theorem and solve optimization problems that yield polynomial functions. Now, as a recall on our derivatives, so it is defined as the rate of change of a function with respect to a variable. So pangkaraniwan, derivative with respect to the variable x. Okay, so when we find the derivative also of a function at a certain point, so we also find the slope of the tangent line at that certain point. All right, so now we will find the first derivative of the following functions. So we will now use the rules of differentiation. All right, so number one, y is equal to 5x squared minus 3x plus 5. So recall lang po tayo. So on our past weeks, napag-aralan natin na we can use a power rule. Okay? And kapag meron tayong iba't ibang terms, okay? So first, second, and third. So hihiwa-hiwalayin lang natin yung pag-derive sa bawat term. So for example, here y is equal to 5x squared minus 3x plus 5. So dito muna tayo sa 5x squared. So ano bang derivative ng 5x squared? That is, di ba, 5 times, okay, bababa yung exponent, 2, then multiply x, then 2 minus 1. So, maminusan lang natin lagi ng 1 yung ating exponent. So, that is 10x. Alright? So, minus, okay, dito naman, the derivative of 3x is, okay, so 3. Kapag x lang yung kasama ng ating coefficient, so just copy the coefficient. And then, derivative ng constant is always 0. So, plus 0. Okay, so thus the derivative or y prime of the first function is 10x minus 3. Okay, so mas madali na nating mas-solve or mentally kaya na nating i-solve pag na-practice natin ng mabuti ang pag-derive. Alright, so now let's move on to number 2. Y is equal to 30x to the fourth minus 70x cubed plus 15x squared minus 10x plus 7. Okay, so kaya na natin i-mental. So baba lang yung exponent, mamumultiply yung 30 sa exponent. So 30 times 4 is 120. 120 x raised to the third, sinaminusan na ng isa, minus 70 times 3 is 210 x squared plus 2 times 15 is 30 x minus 10 plus 0. Okay, so pwede na nating hindi ilagay yung plus 0. So this is the final answer for number 2. So as we can see, so gamit na gamit yung power rule. Okay? So meron lang coefficient sa unahan. Right? So let's move on to number 3. Number 3 is y is equal to 2x cubed minus 4x squared minus 3x times 12x squared minus 7. Okay, so we have two functions, okay, tapos pinag-multiply. So ito yung unang function, tapos ito yung pangalawa. Okay? So, product rule. Pag sinabing product rule, okay? So, ang mangyayari dyan is yung copy muna yung una, 2x cubed minus 4x squared minus 3x, tas derivative nung una. Okay? So, summarize muna natin. So, for example, this is the function u, tapos ito yung v. Okay? So, u, kakopy lang natin yung function times the derivative of v plus ito naman sa pangalawang function. So, v times derivative of u. Okay, so that is the product rule. So, let's try. So, again, product rule, pag may dalawa tayong function, tapos pinag-multiply. So, let's have 2x cubed minus 4x squared minus 3x. Copy lang yan. Kasi nga, u, 4x squared minus 3x. And then, i-multiply natin sa derivative nung isa. Ano ba ang derivative nito? That is 24x. Okay? Plus, hindi pa tapos. Pangalawa naman, copy 12x squared minus 7 times derivative naman nung una. Okay? So, 2 times 3 is 6x, then squared, minus, okay, 8x minus 3. Right? So, that is the derivative or the product rule. So, we just have to simplify this equation. So, our final answer would be, okay, so 48 x to the fourth minus 96 x cubed minus 72 x squared. So, dinidistribute ko lang isa-isa yung 24x. And then, here naman, plus 5 times 6 is 72 x to the fourth minus 96 x cubed. Then, pangatlo, 36 minus 36 x squared. And then, minus 42x squared plus 8 times 7 is 56x and then plus 21. So we will just have to combine like terms. So lahat ng x to the fourth ay ito. Okay, so meron pa ba? So wala ng x to the fourth. We just have to add 48 plus 72. So that is 120x to the fourth. Let's have yung x cubed naman. So negative 96. Tapos, okay, wala na. That is negative 192 x cubed. Then lahat ng x squared. So, tatlo. Okay, negative 72, tapos 36. 72, 36. And then negative 42. That is negative 150 x squared. Then lahat ng x. Okay, isa lang. That is positive 56x plus the constant term plus 21. Okay, and that is our final answer for number 3. Okay, we just use the product rule. Right, so let's move on to number 4. We have y is equal to x squared minus 5x plus 7 over 5x minus 3. So kung kanina meron tayong product rule, ngayon naman nakita natin meron tayong numerator and denominator. Okay, so we have a function sa numerator and we have also a function sa denominator. So we will use the quotient rule. All right. So ano ba pag quotient rule? Okay. So ang sagot din diyan ay fraction, pa-fraction. Okay. Just copy the denominator tapos i-square natin 'yan. And then sa numerator ang mangyayari, copy yung denominator, multiply sa derivative ng numerator which is u. Let's say ito yung u tas ito yung v. Minus u naman, yun yung numerator times derivative ng denominator. Okay? So, lagi pong ganyan ang quotient rule. So, let's try. So, ano sabi sa quotient rule? We have y prime is equal to, just copy the denominator sa baba, tapos square lang. And then copy ulit sa taas, 5x minus 3. Then i-multiply daw sa derivative ng numerator. Derivative ng numerator is 2x minus 5. Then minus, okay, copy naman yung numerator, x squared minus 5x plus 7, multiply sa derivative ng denominator. So that is 5. Right? So that's it. We just have to simplify our derivative. So 5x whole method lang. We have 10x squared and then minus 25x minus 6x plus 15. Okay. Minus 5x squared plus 25x minus 35. So that is sa numerator. Okay. So ito naman is 25x squared minus 30x minus 9. Okay. Simplify. Combine like terms, 10x squared minus 5x squared is 5x squared. Lahat naman na may x. Okay. 25x. Yan. Cancel out. Negative 6x. And then, okay, isa lang yung meron. Minus 6x. And then the constant terms. So, positive 15 minus 35. That is negative 20. All over 25x squared minus 30x minus 9. Okay? So that is our final answer. Okay? Let's have number 5. All right. Okay. So this item, okay, so you may try it yourself. Okay. So like what we did in number 4, that is the quotient rule. Okay, v squared sa baba, tapos copy v du minus u dv. Okay. So that is just a recall on our finding the derivatives of some functions. All right, so now let's jump to our lesson proper. Okay? So which is the extreme value theorem. So ano nga bang sinasabi ng extreme value theorem? So let f be a function which is continuous on a closed and bounded interval. So highlighted po yung continuous tsaka closed and bounded interval A and B. Okay, so then the extreme values maximum and minimum of f always exist and they occur either at the endpoints or at the critical points of f. So ano bang sinasabi dito? So let's say meron daw tayong function. For example, okay, tingin tayo dito sa graph. Okay, so let's have a function daw that is continuous. So napag-aralan na natin kung paano tumingin or mag-test ng continuity ng function. Okay? So this is an example of a continuous function since wala siyang any interruption in our graph. And also, it is closed and bounded interval. So meron siyang interval from A, x is equal to A, and hanggang x is equal to B. And then, closed siya. So, hindi naman siya magiging continuous. Kung, for example, this is okay, a hollow. Okay, yung sa endpoints or any point in our graph ay may hollow or may hole. Okay? So, dapat closed siya. Okay? Included si A and B sa ating graph. Okay? And then, kapag na-satisfy yung mga yon, continuous, tapos closed and bounded, okay? May interval siya from A and B. Then, yung maximum and minimum daw niya ay nag-e-exist palagi. So, they occur either at the endpoints, okay? Pwedeng nandito sa either A and B or at the critical points of F. So, mamaya titignan natin kung paano mahanap yung critical point ng ating function. So ano nga ba yung maximum and minimum sa ating graph? Okay, the maximum based on its okay, the word itself, maximum, pinakamataas, di ba? Okay, so nasan ba ang pinakamataas na y value or makikita natin sa graph? Okay, so ang pinakamataas na point sa ating graph, okay, is at this point. So that is the maximum point. Okay? Ang pinakamababa naman, okay, that is the y value. Okay, sa y value siya nagbe-base. Okay, that is the minimum. So para sa pinakamababa. So let's have also the graph here in the right side. So for example, we have y is equal to x cubed minus 4x minus 1. So that is for interval negative 2 hanggang 2.5 lang. So negative 2, ayan, ito yung point. Tapos sa 2.5 ay ito yung point. Okay? So kung mapapansin natin, nasan ang maximum? Okay? Pinakamataas ay 4.625. So nag-occur siya dito sa endpoint which is sa 2.5. Nasa naman yung minimum? Nag-occur siya dito sa 1.155 at x is equal to 1.155, then ang y value niya is negative 4.079. Okay, that is the maximum and the minimum of our graph. All right, so now for our first activity or example, we will determine if the given graph satisfies the conditions of extreme value theorem. So again, ano nga ba yung conditions for the extreme value theorem? So it must be continuous and there is a closed bounded interval A and B. Okay, so let's have these examples. Okay, punta tayo sa unang graph. Kung mapapansin natin, meron tayong close bounded interval. So, ang graph natin nagsimula sa A, tapos nagtapos sa B. Okay. So, test natin, is this continuous? Okay. So, this graph is not continuous since meron tayong point dito. So, hindi siya nadaanan na ating graph. Okay. So, but it is defined at that certain x value. So, meron pa ring interruption sa ating graph. So, this is not continuous. So, thus, it does not satisfy the extreme value theorem. So, number 2, makikita natin merong hole sa x is equal to b nag-occur. So, hindi na agad siya continuous. Okay, so since the interval is not closed, as can be seen on B, it is open interval. Okay, so dapat closed po siya. Sa number 3 naman, we have, okay, nag-occur yung graph from A hanggang B and then closed siya sa A and B. Okay, and as we trace our graph, that is continuous. So thus, it satisfies the extreme value theorem. Okay, so ano nga bang sinasabi sa extreme value theorem? Kapag na-satisfy daw, okay, pag continuous tapos closed bounded, okay, so meron siyang maximum and minimum. So ito bang una ay may maximum and minimum? So wala, since hindi niya na-satisfy yung extreme value theorem. Number 2, wala rin, okay, since again, it does not satisfy the extreme value theorem. So only the third graph satisfies the extreme value theorem, thus meron siyang minimum and maximum. As we can see here, nag-occur yung maximum and minimum point dito sa A and B. Okay? So this is the minimum and this is the maximum. Okay? So maximum pinakamataas, minimum pinakamababa. All right. So now we will find the absolute extrema. So ano nga ba yung extrema? That is the minimum and maximum lang rin. So paano nga ba natin mahahanap? So these are the steps in finding the absolute extrema or the maximum and minimum. So first, find the first derivative of the given function. Okay? So mahalaga rin pala na makuha natin or alam natin yung concept ng derivative. Okay? Since magagamit natin yon sa paghahanap ng maximum and minimum points sa ating graph. Okay? So equate the first derivative of the function to 0 to find the critical number. So yun pala yung sinasabing critical numbers. So sabi kanina, 'di ba, pwedeng mag-occur yung maximum and minimum dun sa A tsaka sa B, okay, sa endpoints or sa critical point. So yun pala yung critical point. Doon natin mahahanap sa after natin i-equate yung first derivative to 0. Okay? Number 3, substitute the given interval and the critical numbers to the given function. And then number 4, or the last step, is to select the maximum by finding the largest value in third step and the minimum by finding the smallest value in the third step. So note the absolute extreme is the absolute maximum and absolute minimum of the given graph of a function. All right. So these are the steps. Let's have an example. So for our first example, we have to find the maximum and minimum sa ating given a function. So we have x squared plus 3x plus 9. So that is negative 3 to 3. Okay. So let's try. So tingnan muna natin kung ano itsura ng x squared plus 3x plus 9 from negative 3 to 3. Okay, so as we can see here sa ating Desmos site, we have the f of x is equal to x squared plus 3x plus 9 from negative 3 to 3. So ganito po maglagay ng interval. Okay? Kapag sa Desmos. So here is the given function and ganito yung itsura niya. Okay? So kung sa graph tayo titingin, okay, madali nating makikita or mapipinpoint kung nasan yung maximum and minimum. But hindi natin alam kung ano nga ba yung value na yun. Okay? So kung makikita natin, andito yung pinakamataas. Thus, that is the maximum point. And also, on the other hand, ito naman yung pinakamababa. Thus, that is the minimum point. Okay? So we will use the steps in the previous slide to find the maximum and minimum point. So nasan nga ba yun? Okay, so anong y value nun? Okay, with our given x values. So let's try. Balik tayo sa ating example. So f of x is equal to x squared plus 3x plus 9 from negative 3 to 3. So anong unang step? Find the derivative of our function. So the derivative f prime of x is equal to 2x plus 3. Okay, that is the first step. And then, the second step, i-equate daw natin yung ating function or first derivative sa 0 and then find x. Okay, so that is the first step. Second step, 2x plus 3 equate to 0. Okay, find the x. Okay, so 2x is equal to negative 3. So nilipat ko yung positive 3, naging negative 3 sa kabilang side ng equation. And then find x, divide both sides by 2. So x is equal to negative 3 halves or negative 1.5. So that is the critical point pala. So critical point. Okay. So we have three values of x. So x is equal to negative 3. So that is for the A. Tapos x is equal to 3. That is for the B. Yan yung endpoints. And then nakakuha pa tayo ng isang point or value of x. That is the critical point, negative 1.5. Isa-substitute natin ngayon to sa ating original function. Okay? So that is the third step. So we have to find f of x. Okay? So that is the answer for the first and second step. Third step. Okay? So we have to substitute. We have to find f of negative 3, f of 3, and f of negative 1.5. Okay? So 3 squared negative 3 squared plus 3 times negative 3 plus 9. 3 squared plus 3 times 3 plus 9. And then negative 1.5 squared plus 3 times 1.5 plus 9. Okay? So kung mapapansin natin, sinubstitute lang natin sa x yung value ng yung mga values of x and or yung endpoint tsaka yung critical point. So here is the answer. So by substituting Okay, this is 1.5, not 2, not negative 2. Okay, so ayan. So negative 1.5, okay, the answer is 6.75. F of negative 3, the answer is 9. F of 3, the answer is 27. And then, i-identify daw natin kung ano yung pinakamaliit na value and then pinakamalaking value. Okay? Sa ating example, ang pinakamaliit nung nakuha natin yung value ng f of negative 1.5. That is 6.75. Ang pinakamalaki or the maximum is 27. So thus, that is our maximum and minimum. Absolute extrema. Okay, finding the absolute maximum and absolute minimum. Therefore, the maximum value occurs at x is equal to 3. Okay, so yun. F of 3 kasi, nung sinubstitute natin yung 3, while the minimum value is 6.75 and it occurs at x is equal to negative 1.5. Okay, so here's our graph, yung pinakita ko kanina. So 3, that is 327 pala. Okay, yun yung magka-partner eh. 3x is equal to 3, y is equal to 27. And then minimum negative 1.5, 6.75. Okay, so that is the absolute maximum and minimum. So let's try another function. So we have x cubed minus 7x squared minus 5x plus 20. Okay, find the first derivative. For the first step, okay, the first derivative of our function is 3x squared minus 14x. So, saan nakuha yon? Isa-isa yan. X cubed, that is 3x squared. Si 7x squared, 14x. Si 5x is 5. Then si 20 ay 0. Dahil constant lang po siya. Okay? So, that is the first derivative. And then, second step, again, equate sa 0. F prime of x is equal to 0. Okay? So, ito po yun. In-equate sa 0, that is 3x squared minus 14x minus 5 is equal to 0. To find the roots or to find the x, we have to factor out. Okay? So, 3x plus 1 times x minus 5. Okay? Isa-isa yan. 3x plus 1 is equal to 0. And then x minus 5 is equal to 0. Okay, after factoring out, di ba, pinaghiwalay natin yung dalawang product or yung dalawang factor out natin. Next, finding the x. For the first one, we have x is equal to negative 1/3 and x is equal to 5. Since ang nabuo nating derivative, okay, is a quadratic function, okay, with the degree 2. So, dalawa rin yung nakuha nating value of x or the roots. Okay? However, sabi dito, 5 does not belong to the interval negative 1 tsaka 1. So, given tayo interval na negative 1 tsaka 1 lang. Okay? So, thus, hindi na natin isasama si 5 sa pag-substitute. Okay? Or sa critical number. So, the only critical number is negative 1/3. So, itetest natin kung nasan na ba yung maximum and minimum through our third step. Third step, substitute the values. Okay? So, negative 1 tsaka 1. Tapos, yung negative 1/3 is the critical point. So, sinubstitute by substituting each point, each value of x. Okay? Ang makukuha natin na value is 20.851 17, and 9. Okay? So, f of negative 1/3, dun nag-occur yung maximum since pinakamalaki yung 20.851. Then, sa f of 1, nag-occur yung minimum since pinakamaliit yung 9. Okay? So, for our conclusion, therefore, the maximum value 20.851 occurs at x is equal to negative 1/3, while the minimum value is at 9, okay? And it occurs at x is equal to 1. Okay, for our graph, here it is. Okay, kung mapapansin natin, okay, again, nag-occur yung maximum or pinakamataas na point niya dito. Okay, that value is negative 1/3, tapos 20.852 based sa ating na-compute. And then the minimum or pinakamababang point is occur at 1, x equal to 1, and then the y value is 9. Okay, so and that's it for the finding the value, the maximum and minimum through the extreme value theorem. All right. Okay. Sir, saan ba natin pwedeng gamitin to? So, ba't natin pinag-aaralan yung extreme value theorem? So, ito po yung answer. So, optimization or finding the maximum and minimum is one of the most essential topics in basic calculus. So, this topic will help you in making a right decision when you need to know the maximum or minimum value of a specific function. For instance, in budgeting your allowance, ayan, sa pagbabudget daw ng ating mga baon sa school, so pwede natin itong magamit. Finding the maximum volume of a three-dimensional figure, and for business in maximizing the revenue. Okay? So what are the steps in solving problems involving optimization? First, transform the mathematical phrase into mathematical equation. Second, write a function for the item to be optimized. Third, substitute equation 1 to the optimization function to make this as one variable. Okay? And then determine the domain under consideration. Fourth, find the first derivative of the optimization function. Fifth, equate the first derivative of the optimization function to 0 to find the critical numbers. So kung mapapansin natin, meron na tayong, okay, kung nabuo na natin yung ating function dito sa ating third step, okay, yung step sa paghahanap ng maximum and minimum dun sa ating previous topic, yun na rin yung gagawin sa mga susunod after the third step. So, find the first derivative, tapos equate to 0 to find the critical numbers. Okay? So, ginawa rin natin yan, di ba? Pero given tayo kasi kanina ng function. Ngayon, solving problems, worded problems. So, substitute daw yung interval and the critical numbers, okay, to find the maximum and minimum. And then seventh, the last step is to select the final answer on step 6 based on what is being asked on the problem. So kung kanina, hinanap natin both maximum and minimum. Ngayon, magbabase tayo sa tanong. Pwedeng ang hanapin lang ay yung minimum, pwedeng ang hanapin lang ay yung maximum. For instance, if the problem looks for the maximum, ayan, therefore we need to select the largest value. And if the problem looks for the minimum, therefore we need to select the smallest value. All right? So now, let's jump to our, ayan, so for the last step pa pala, finalize your answer based on what is being asked in the problem. Okay, let's have the first example. All right. For our first example in solving optimization problems, we have number one, Eds Matreo, a science teacher, decided to renovate her rectangular by using a rock wall on one side of the garden and wire fencing for the other three sides. If she has only 50 feet of wire fencing, find the dimension that would give her the maximum area of her garden and what is the maximum area. All right, so intindihin natin yung problem isa-isa. So gusto daw niyang magpa-renovate ng rectangular garden. Ayan, yung rectangular garden with, okay, lagay natin dimensions. Okay, let's label it, okay, for the width x tapos yung length is y. Yung isang side daw, okay, yung yellow na portion na to, okay, so yung isang side na yan is rock wall. So hindi natin siya lalagyan ng fence. Ang lalagyan daw niya ng fence is itong part na to. Okay? And sabi, meron lang daw siyang 50 feet of wire fencing. So, yung 50 feet na yon, pagkakasyahin niya yon dito. Okay? So, ano daw dimension? Okay? Na value ni x and y. Okay? Yung magbibigay sa kanya ng malaking area. Okay? So, kasi pwedeng ang gawin niya ay, for example, hatiin natin. Example, 10 dito. Of course, 10 na rin dito since pantay lang yan, di ba? And then 10 tapos 20, ang natira ay 30. Okay? Or pwede rin namang tig 15 naman. Tig 15 dito, 15, and then 15 yon. So x is 15, then y is 20. Okay? So pwedeng x is 15, y is 20. Okay? So, paano natin mahahanap yung makakapagbigay sa kanya ng maximum area na hindi lumalagpas sa 50 feet of wire fencing? So, we will use the steps in optimization problems. Anong unang gagawin? So, itatransform daw yung mathematical equation. So, sabi dyan, 50 feet of wire fencing daw. Okay? So, paano natin mapapagkasya yon? So, our first step, so yung 50 feet, okay, that is dalawang x tapos isang y. Okay? So, parang perimeter ng rectangle. Since, di ba, ang perimeter ng rectangle ay 2x plus 2y. But since wala sa isang side ni y, so that is 2x plus y only. That must be equal to 50. Ayan. So, para mapagkasya niya yung 50. Okay? So, the mathematical equation of the problem is 2x plus y is equal to 50. Second step, the optimization function, okay, ano daw yung kailangan niyang i-maximize? Sabi dito, okay, ang tanong, maximum area. So, tinatanong yung maximum area. Ang kailangang ma-maximize ay yung area. Paano ba tayo kumukuha ng area? That is, di ba, x multiplied to y. Length times the width for the rectangle. Okay? So, that is our optimization function. So, f of x is equal to x times y since area of the rectangle is length times width and we need to get the maximum area of the garden. Sa third step natin, pagsasamahin natin tong dalawang equation na yan. Okay? So, meron tayong f of x is equal to x times y. X times y. Okay? So, may y tayo dito eh. Kailangan, naka-x lang lahat yan. Okay? para makuha natin yung derivative mamaya. Okay, so saan natin kukunan yung value ng y na yan? Dito sa nabuo nating mathematical equation sa unang step. So that is, okay, 2x plus y is equal to 50. Lipat ko yung 2x doon para matira si y sa kabila equation. So that is y is equal to 50 minus 2x. So substitute ko si 50 minus 2x sa y sa ating original function. Okay, so we have the function, new function x times 50 minus 2x. So f of x is equal to 50x minus 2x squared. So that is our function. So meron na tayong nabuong function. Okay? So third step, yun po yun. Okay? So sabi dito, the closed bounded interval is 0 hanggang 25. Okay? So, saan nakuha yung closed bounded interval na to A and B? Inequate si 50x minus 2x squared sa 0. Okay, and then they get x equal to 0 and x is equal to 25. So, that is the closed bounded interval. So, x is equal to 0, x equal to 25. Meron na tayong dalawang value of x. Let's now find the critical value or critical point. So, paano makakuha yung critical point? We have to find the first derivative. Okay, ang function natin, again, 50x minus 2x squared. Okay, yan yung original function or yung function na buo natin. The derivative of that is 50 minus 4x. All right. Okay, so nahanap na natin yung derivative ni 50x minus 2x squared, that is 50 minus 4x. Next step is to equate it to 0 and then find the value of x. Okay, by equating 50 minus 4x to 0, we get 50 is equal to 4x and then x is equal to 50 divided by 4. Okay, and we get the answer of 12.5. Okay, and that is the critical number. For our next step, we will substitute those values of x sa ating original function. Okay, so which is the 50x minus 2x squared. Okay, so that is the third step. Okay, by substituting all those values, yung x is equal to 0, x is equal to 25, x is equal to 12.5, we get, okay, sa una, 0, f of 0, of course, 0 ang sagot, f of 25, 0 din yung sagot. Nung sinubstitute natin yung critical value, which is 12.5, okay, ang lumabas ay 312.5. So that is compared sa dalawang nakuhang value which is 0, of course, obviously this is the maximum. Okay? That is the maximum area na makukuha. Okay? So since we need to find the maximum area, therefore it occurs on x is equal to 12.5. Okay? X is equal to 12.5 daw. Okay? So meron tayong value. Ayan, nakuha na natin 12.5. Paano natin makuha yung value ng y? Saan nakuha tong 25? Okay? So sinubstitute sa ating 2x plus y is equal to 50. So since may value tayo ng 2 times 12.5, hanapin na lang natin yung y. So 2 times 12.5 is 25. So this is 25 plus y is equal to 50. Y is equal to 50 minus 25. We get the answer of 25. Okay? So yan yung dimension, x is equal to 12.5. Tig 12.5 daw dyan sa magkabilang dulo, tapos 25 dito sa y. Okay? And then maximum area daw. So x times y lang yon. 12.5 times 25, the answer is 312.5. Kung mapapansin natin, nung sinubstitute din natin yung 12.5 sa ating original function, yun din yung maximum area. Alright? So that's it for our first optimization problem. So let's have another example. So find a pair of non-negative number that have a product of 48 and minimize the sum of 3 times the number and second number with closed bounded interval of 1 hanggang 6. So meron na tayong dalawang value ni x at y. Okay? For the first step, ano nga ba? So transform natin yung mathematical equation. Okay? So sabi dito, hanap daw tayo ng dalawang non-negative number na ang product ay 48. So for example, x tsaka y. X times y. Okay? Yun yung dalawang non-negative number na pag minultiply ang answer ay 48. So nabuo na natin yung equation. Next, hanapin daw natin yung o-optimize. Sabi dito, minimize the sum. Minimize, okay? Ang may minimize natin, let's have the function. Sum of 3 times the first number. So for example, ito yung first number natin, si x. 3 times the first number at saka the first number. Okay? I mean, 3 times the first number and the second number. So, i-minimize daw natin yung sum ng 3 times the x and the second number. Alright? So, nabuo na natin yung ating function. Third step, okay, dapat pare-parehas yung x. Okay? So, dapat walang y. So, kukunin natin yung y dito sa unang equation. So, our y is equal to 48 over x. So, dinivide ko lang both sides sa x para ma-cancel si x sa other side. So, nakakuha tayo ng equation y is equal to 48 over x. So, substitute natin sa ating optimization function. So, 3x plus, okay, yung y papalitan ko na ng 48 over x. Okay. All right. So we have the function, the new function, okay, with only one variable. Okay, 3x plus 48 over x. So we have to find the critical value. So letter D, ano bang critical value? Paano ko makakuha? By finding the first derivative of the function. Our first derivative is 3. Okay. So transform ko muna to para mas madali nating ma-derive. So f of x is equal to 3x plus, okay. Again, for si x ay nasa baba, so pwede ko siyang iakyat, papalitan ko na lang ng exponent, which is -1. Okay? So yan, using the power rule, madali na natin makukuha yung derivative niyan. So 3 plus, okay, bababa yung -1, mamumultiply sa 48. So that will become -48 x raised to -2. -1 minus 1 is -2. Okay? Simplify. F prime of x is 3 minus 48. Okay? X raised to -2. Since naka-ratio sa negative, dito siya sa denominator, x squared. Okay? So that is the first derivative, 3 minus 48 over x squared. Letter E, we have to find the critical point by equating the first derivative to 0. So 3 minus 48 over x squared, that is equal to 0. Okay? So multiply lahat natin sa x squared. Okay? So we get 3x squared minus 48 is equal to 0. So 3x squared is equal to 48. X squared is equal to, divide both sides by 3, we get x squared of x squared is equal to, okay, 48 divide 3 is 16. Thus, we get the, okay, so x squared is equal to 16. Thus, we get the answer of x is equal to positive -4. Okay, so since 1 hanggang 6 lang daw, so hindi na natin isasama si -4. Okay, so ang answer lang ay x is equal to 4. So x is equal to 4, that is the critical number. Okay, si critical number ay x equal to 4. So pwedeng yun na yung i-substitute natin sa ating original function, which is itong f of x is equal to 3x plus 48 over x to find the minimum. Okay? Ayan. So let's have the substitution. Okay? So 3x plus 48 over x original function. So substitute natin yung mga given. Okay? X is equal to 1 hanggang 6 given yan. Tapos yung x is equal to 4, yan yung nakuha nating critical point. Okay? So kung mapapansin natin, ang minimum, ang pinakamaliit, okay, ang hinahanap ay minimum value, okay, nung sum ng 3 times yung unang number tsaka yung pangalawang number. So this 24 is the minimum since siya yung pinakamaliit sa tatlo. So it occurs at f is equal to 4. So since we need to find the minimum value, therefore it occurs on x is equal to 4. So nakuha na natin yung first number, that is x is equal to 4. Paano naman yung y? Okay, substitute lang natin sa unang mathematical equation. Okay, sabi dito x times y is equal to 48. Thus, the value of y will be 12. So, paano nangyari yon? Sabi, x times y is equal to 48. Meron na tayong value ni x, which is 4. So, 4y is equal to 48. Y is equal to 48 over 4. That is equal to 12. Okay, so we get the two non-negative numbers, x and y. That is x is equal to 4 and y is equal to 12. Okay, kung mapapansin natin, laging doon nag-occur yung maximum and minimum sa critical number. So, pwedeng i-skip na natin yung paghahanap ng maximum and minimum case sa pagsasubstitute ng endpoints. Okay? So, pwedeng hindi na natin isubstitute yung endpoints. Direct na dun tayo sa pagsubstitute ng critical number. automatically dun mag-occur yung minimum or the maximum. All right? So that's it. Okay, so you have to go to the respective Google Classroom for the week 6 activities, okay, written work and performance tasks.